And this is episode 1. Started from the bottom. Now we here. And this is going to be the first episode of my Back to the Basics series. So, whoop, whoop. If you are new to my YouTube channel, and my new YouTube channel is definitely new to you, which it is. It's new to like everybody. Just a background or a review of what this YouTube channel is. Basically, the purpose of this YouTube channel is to encourage young ladies. I actually kind of want to read my love. I want to read what I wrote, y'all. I really do. Is this what you're supposed to do in YouTube videos? Okay, I want to read what I wrote because I like what I wrote. But obviously, I'm going to have to read. It's okay. So, the purpose of this YouTube channel is truly to encourage other young ladies, to encourage other Christian girls, and so that they won't feel that they are alone, so that you won't feel that you are alone, and to know that this is a process and that you're not the only one going through what you're going through. And that's really the main purpose of this YouTube channel. It's going to be based from Revelations 12 and 11. It says that I'm just going to read it. You overcame by the blood of the Lamb, okay, and the words of your testimony. And the rest of it says, and that they did not love their lives to the death. And it's interesting because we never really finished the rest of it. I wasn't going to finish the rest of it. But they did not love their lives to the death. Like, this isn't the end, y'all, okay? Not only do we overcome because Jesus Christ died for us. That's number one. That's the number one reason why we are able to overcome in whatever situation. But we also are able to overcome because we share our testimonies with one another, right? Like, because we are able to share that, oh, I've been through this, I went through that, I'm going through this, and look where I am now. God is still using me. God is still doing the work in me. It's not the end. And so I know that when people have shared their testimonies with me, when people have been open and transparent with me, it has allowed me to be open and transparent with others. When I first started this walk, it was very difficult. I'm 3 years strong in the game, y'all. And let me tell you, it's been a very difficult 3 years, but a very rewarding 3 years. And I'm just here to share that process with you all because people need to know, and that we can encourage each other, that it's not just me pouring out to you, but like you can also, I'm here to receive. If God is using someone to pour back into me, I'm here to receive as well. It's not just a me thing. I want it to be like a community. So that's kind of the whole, in addition to what I've already shared. So today I want to talk about, y'all, I know y'all saw that picture. What was she doing? Why was her head in the trash can? Y'all know what I was doing. That was for my 21st birthday. You know what I was doing. You know why my head was in that trash can. So I'm here to talk about how I got to the bottom and how I came back up. Okay. So first I kind of want to start by saying that I grew up in the church, right? I'm what they call a church kid. Church of God in Christ all my life. My mother is an evangelist, my father is a minister, my spiritual grandparents, they were the pastors of my church back at home. Shout out to Calvary, whoop whoop, Temple Church of God in Christ, Outreach Church of God in Christ. So it was a very small church, so we grew up doing everything in the church. I grew up in church. They tuned it down a little bit, but we were there all day Sunday, Tuesday, and there was Wednesday noonday prayer, and they had classes on Thursday, so sometimes I helped out with the classes, and Friday was YPWW and the evangelism service. Don't let it be a special occasion. We there all week. Excuse me. So that's my background. I grew up in the church. I know the word. And it's crazy because even as I'm reflecting and preparing for this, I thought about how I remember being saved at a young age. Okay, I was saved when I was probably like 10. I remember being in 4th grade. I remember sitting on the front sitting on the front pew. And y'all, anyways, I remember sitting on the front pew with my Bible, reading my word, like in the middle of service, just like focused, y'all. I remember being at home reading my word. I was like 10. Okay, I remember this vividly. I don't remember too many things, but I remember this clearly. I even remember there was a boy in my class who was like, he was wild. He was one of those kids. I can imagine him now. I can see him being one of my students, always putting his hands on somebody. He was one of them. And I remember telling him, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Like, I remember saying that, y'all, as a kid. I was either in 4th or 5th grade. So you think about, how did I go from that to that picture y'all saw? How? There were a lot of different factors, right? And I'm gonna go more deeper into those factors in another episode. But moral of the story, I was lost and confused. I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand why I was going to church. I didn't understand why I couldn't do the things that other people did. I really thought that my parents just didn't want me to have fun. I thought my mom was just the meanest person in the world. And honestly, I was ashamed. It's so crazy because I just saw on Facebook, someone posted a meme like, my mom was so strict that I didn't even tell people. I just told people she said no, and I didn't even ask her. And I would do that. I would just tell people like, oh, I can't go. My mom said I can't go, or stuff like that. And it would be because we couldn't go. I couldn't go because we had Bible study, or we had a service, or something like that. And I was really ashamed, and I don't know why. And that is also another reason why I'm doing this. I want somebody to receive their freedom. I want some young person to know that you do not have to be ashamed to be saved, to love the Lord, to be a Christian, to proclaim Christ. It is fun. It is exciting. It is the best thing that I've ever done. It's not lame and boring like they try to make it seem. You know, like there's so much freedom in Christ. And I want people to know that, especially young people. Okay. So all of this, right, it just kept like everything just kept like climbing on top of everything else. You know, I became a people pleaser, and I wanted validation from other people. And this is another reason why it's so important. You need to be careful who you have around your kids, because, and not to say that it's always other people's kids, but in this case, I made my own choices. Don't get me wrong, but I was letting other people draw me instead of drawing them, right? And I was doing that a lot. I had a lot of, it was a lot of that. And the thing that really got me was, like I said, me seeking validation, and then you start getting involved with boys, right? I mean, I wanted a boyfriend so bad. I wanted to be loved by a boy, and blase. I wanted a boy to validate me and to prove that I was just this amazing girl, and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, the older I got, the worse it got, right? And, you know, fast forward to high school, you know, I'm still going to church. Mind you, still going to church. I mean, participating in everything. So that's still happening. But on the other side, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing that. Then I started really opening myself up to just different things. Like, I was letting boys talk to me any kind of way. I was letting boys degrade me, just treat me any kind of way. And it just continued to open up another door. Like, I was just, you know, like the never ending hallway, or like the never ending, it's just like you going down another, it's like that maze. You just, because I didn't go back, come on here, I felt that. Because I did not go back to where I started, and I kept going in this confused maze that I had no business going into to begin with, it got worse, and it got worse, and it got worse. Okay. then, I mean, I was living a seriously lukewarm life, y'all. Like, for real, for real. And it's crazy. I remember even in high school, like, being prophesied to about different things. And, you know, honestly, I feel like I missed out on some things. You know, God's plan is perfect, but there are some things that have been delayed. There have been some additional things that has happened. Now there are some things that I have to battle through and fight through, some things that I had to be healed from because of choices that I made. So then, and I'm about to start talking about some uncomfortable things, y'all, but let me tell you, my downward spiral really began when I started having sex. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. That's what happened, right? You know, I lasted quite a bit to the end of my high school, you know, very end. And I was like, oh, I love this boy. It's the person I want to marry. And, you know, he convinced me, like, well, we gonna get married anyways, right? So dumb. Anyways, and we had sex. And let me tell you, I felt so guilty the entire time. I felt so guilty, y'all. I mean, I could literally envision my mother. I'm like looking up at the ceiling. Sorry, I hope this is not TMI, but I'm like looking up at the ceiling, envisioning my mother, envisioning my grandmother, like, and I words can't explain the guilt and the shame that I felt that night. But it opens up. It's like a gateway for these spirits to come into your life. And I, you know, was just listening to a video where they were saying, like, it's an addiction, and it really is. Me and him would joke about it, but that was a real issue. It became a real problem because you wanted to do it all the time. You wanted to do it, and now you're attached to this person. You think about the purpose of sex, right? Like, it's for marriage. Number one, marriage is sacred in God's eyes, and God created sex for marriage, for us to procreate. And also, I believe he also did, you know, for us to enjoy each other, you know, for us to be edified, whatever. It's my personal belief. But it was created for us to procreate, right? For us to be fruitful and multiply in that manner. And it's supposed to be for marriage. When you are married, you become one. Every time you having sex with somebody, you are becoming one with this person who's not your husband. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I was doing. I was losing a piece of myself every single time. And when we broke up, I was devastated, and I literally fell into a state of depression. And this is not to, you know, there are different forms of depression. You know, we've talked about this. You know, there are some things that are chemical imbalances. There are some things that are caused by different events in your life that causes, you know, states of depression. And I was in just this state of depression, and I cannot get out, y'all. I'm telling you, it was so bad. I wasn't eating. I wasn't sleeping because I was so used to going to sleep on the phone with him. And it's just all these different things, right? It just threw my whole life off. But, I'm so grateful for the people that God placed in my life to help bring me out of that. And you would have thought that I would have learned from that, right? And that was the one moment. And it's so crazy. Even in all this, God was still blessing me. Like, he was still covering me, y'all. This is how you know it. Like, God will cover you. If he has an assignment and a purpose and a plan for your life, he will cover you through it all. Okay, let me get through, because I'm feeling it. Okay, so anyways, continue, fast forward. I'm still going to church, y'all. I'm in gospel choir now. I'm in college, and I'm living my life. So I was doing good. When me and him broke up, no sex. But then I was like, I said, I'm gonna be celibate, right? Nope. Decided that I wanted to kick it and and do this and do that. And I started having casual sex, right? And it's so crazy. I just, watched this video, Jen Trotter. She was saying, like, there's nothing casual about sex. And it's not. It's it's not. And it literally opened up another world. And it honestly led to me being in a very toxic relationship. That is a whole nother story. But it continued to open up gateways for more spirits of anxiety, depression, letting me like feeling worthless, like I'm nothing without that person, without that person's validation. Like these are just different things that I was really going through, then it just began to get worse and worse and worse, y'all. I'm dealing with all these different things: low self-esteem, jealousy, dishonesty, anxiety, depression, just all of these different things. And not to mention, I am trying to use different people and different things to fill a void that only God can fill, right? And at this point, my body's a temple, but it was like a trash can, y'all. I'm smoking, I'm drinking, I'm partying, I'm doing everything, y'all. Like for real, just doing whatever. I'm getting it on Saturday, all during the week, waking up in the morning, going to church on Sunday, singing in gospel choir. I mean, living a straight lukewarm life. And it's so crazy. James 1:8 says, a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways. And I became so unstable until it's my senior year. It's so crazy. I thought I'm doing me. I can still go to church on Sunday, love Jesus, and still kick it, get high, get drunk, have sex, do what I want to do. This was me, y'all, like for real. This is what I was doing. You would never think that that's what I was doing. And people who know me at Mizzou, know me in undergrad, what I was doing. Whatever, that's cool. But then my life started crumbling down, right? It's so funny because all of my life I feel like, and this is, I wanted to be this good girl. Wanted to be this good girl in public who could do her dirt in private. That's who I wanted to be. That was the kind of, I wanted to live this fake life of, in public I'm this way, and in private I'm doing what I want to do. That was the life that I wanted to live, and I was really holding it together. So on the outside I wanted people to see this good girl and but behind the scenes I was doing whatever, double-minded, dishonest, all kinds of things. But then all of my dirty laundry started getting aired out. Okay, people were talking about me, all kinds of things, y'all. Like it was so bad. I lost different friendships, different opportunities. Obviously lost the guy who I was messing with, because apparently he was messing with everybody and their mama. And I'm smiling now because the joy that I have compared to the pain I was feeling. I mean, words cannot describe the darkness that I was experiencing during that time. I mean, the drinking and the smoking intensified. When I woke up in the morning, I had to smoke a blunt. When I went to work, I had to smoke on the way to work. When I left work, I had to smoke coming. And this is weed, y'all. This is weed. Okay, to smoke on my way home from work. And then when it was time for me to go to sleep, I had to drink and I had to smoke in order for me to go to sleep. I had a big box of wine. I always had something to drink. I always had something to smoke. Then it got so bad to the point where I couldn't afford the weed anymore. I mean, because it was expensive. Like, it was expensive. I was spending a lot of money. I was spending like probably over $100 a month on weed. Like, probably more than that, to be honest. And it got to the point where like now I have to smoke Black and Milds because I ain't got no weed to smoke, and I gotta wait until I get paid to get some more weed. And like, this is how bad things have gotten. I started isolating myself. I wasn't always going to class. If I was going, I was just disconnected. It was probably one of the darkest times of my life, like for real. And I remember calling my mother crying, like, Mom, why do I keep making the same mistakes? Why do I want to keep making the same mistakes? You know, I know it's wrong, I know it's bad, but why? I couldn't put my mind around it, y'all. I knew better, I knew right from wrong, but I could not understand why I kept doing it. I literally couldn't understand it. It really became an addiction. It was something I could not control, and I did not understand it. And my mom, I thank God for a praying mother. My mom could have judged me. She could have said, I told you so. There was so many things she could have said in that moment, but she supported me, and she was there for me, and she prayed for me. I felt her prayers through that phone, you know. And I never forget, she was saying, you have to be sober-minded. And I knew she was not talking about liquor and smoking. I knew she wasn't talking about all the substances in general. We have to be sober-minded. That means I have to have a clear mind. I can't have this and that on my mind. I can't have all these things taking over my mind and clouding my judgment. Even now, 3 years later, I still have to be sober-minded. That means I can't have this and that. I'm trying to fix my light. I can't have all these different things clouding my judgment, because you're still not being sober-minded. Anything that's clouding your judgment is preventing you from being sober-minded. Fast forward to New Year's Eve of that year. I said, Lord, I'm not going to live my life like this no more. I'm tired. I'm tired of living this life. I'm going to give my life to you this year. That was me on New Year's Eve. The next night, I went to the club. The next night, I went to the club. It was a Friday, and I was just kicking it with my friend. Went to the club. I didn't drink or smoke or, I didn't do any of that night. Then that Saturday night, I got high. 2 days ago, I said, Lord, I'm going to live my life for you in this year. I'm not going to do it no more. 2 days later, I'm getting high. And it was a struggle. I was convicted. But I was like, I can do this. And then, it's so important. It's important to make good decisions and to know who you're connected with, right? But let me tell you, and this person knows exactly who she is. I'm not going to say any names, but God used somebody, and I will forever appreciate her so much more than she knows. As I was getting high, this person, she said, why are you doing this? You don't need to be doing this. She said, you're different. You're a church girl. You are too. It's like, she's like, no, you different. And for some odd reason, me being high as a kite, it clicked for me. And that was the last time I've ever gotten high. The last time I've ever smoked. That was the last time. And the next day, I came to church on that Sunday, and I felt so heavy. And it was Communion Sunday. I had never taken communion. My mother was strict. If you are sinning, you are living a life of sin, do not take communion. It is disrespectful. She was serious about that thing. I had never taken communion. At this point, I'm 21, never taken communion, because I knew I was sinning. And I went where my grandmother, grandfather, he had passed away. So my grandmother's now the pastor. And I went in the back in her office as she was getting ready to come back out, to preach the message. And my mom and her were in there. And I was like, can I take communion? I wanted to take it up. I wanted to do right. And my mom, she said, yeah, just ask the Lord for forgiveness. And I couldn't believe how simple it was. I'm like, it's just that easy. Like, that's it. And I promise you, I remember it like it was yesterday. I will never forget, as she was preaching. I don't even remember exactly what she was preaching about, but I'm almost certain she was preaching about redemption, honestly. And I remember lifting my hands up, and she was saying, lift them up high. And she was saying, if you want Christ, and she was saying something along those lines. And right then, right there, as I was lifting my hands, as I was saying, Lord, I give it all to you. Lord, I surrender to you. As I was saying, Lord, I literally felt, excuse me, God lifting the burden. He was lifting the heaviness. He was like healing me. He was comforting my heart. Just even in that very moment, I felt that 100%. January 3rd, 2016 was the day I rededicated my life to Christ. And I have never looked back ever since. Whew! Come on, somebody give God some praise. Look, the churchy in me came out. So yeah, sorry that was long, but it had to be said. And some people will judge me because I shared a lot that people did not know about me. Some people will look at me differently. Others will not. And that's okay. They probably won't, but that's okay. Like, because now you know. Now you know my worship is for real. Now you know when I'm raising my hands in church, people know me. I'm the crying girl in church. You see me crying every Sunday, and if you know me during the week, you know I'm crying during the week too. Like, when you see me worshiping, you know it's for real. And you know why? Because he has delivered me from some things. And when I say I have not turned back, I have not smoked ever since then. I ain't gonna say I haven't drank. That's another video. But I have not had anything to drink since 2016 though. 2017. I haven't gotten drunk. Let me put that in there. I have not gotten drunk since 2016. Have not had sex really since 2015. Yeah, I'm putting my business out there. Yes, I can say that. Cause I'm not ashamed anymore, y'all. I am not ashamed. And that's why I'm on here, because I don't want anybody to be ashamed of their testimony. I don't want anybody to be ashamed of their process, because God is going to use it so that he can get all the glory at the end of the day. So that's it. Please share this video. I really don't like saying that. But seriously, I want the video to be shared, not because I want people to know my business or whatever, but because I want someone's life to be touched, to be changed. I want someone to know that they're not alone. I want you to know that God loves you, that God is here for you. Like, this salvation thing is a process, okay? So yeah, if you have ideas, comment them below. Send me messages, like, just give me ideas, topics that you want to hear about. Like, what do you want? I want this to be a community. I want it to be a us thing. Okay? All right. Bye-bye. Love y'all.